Naistiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 16, text number 33 to 35. 33 and 34, I'll recite myself. Tautu girvana rushabau dustaradhari lokataha hatashriyo brahma shapad abhutam vigatasmahau. But those two gatekeepers, the best of the demigods, their beauty and luster diminished by the curse of the Brahmanas, became morose and fell from Vaikunta, the abode of the Supreme Lord. Tada Vaikunta Dishnat Tayor Nipatatmanayoho Hahakaro Mahanasid Vimanagreshu Putrakaha. Then as Jaya and Vijaya fell from the Lord's above splendid airplanes. Tau Eva Hi Aduna Prapto Taveva hi aduna prapto Parshada pravaro Harehe Parshada pravaro Harehe Ditehe Jatara Nirvishtam Diter Jatara Nirvishtam Kaśyapam Tejaha Ulbanam Kaśyapam teja vulbanam Taveva hi aduna prapto Parshada pravaro harehe Diter jatara nirvishtam Kaśyapam teja vulbanam hi aduna prapto Parshada pravaro harehe Diter jatara nirvishtam Kaśyapam teja ulbanam.
Taveva hi aduna prapto Parshada pravaro harehe Ditir jatara nirvishtam Kaśyapam teja ulbanam.
Thou, those two doorkeepers, Eva, certainly, he addressed Aduna, now, Prapto, having gotten, Parshada Pravaro, important associates, Harehe, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ditehe, of Diti, Jatara, womb, Nirvishtam, entering, Kaśyapam, of Kaśyapa Muni, Tejaha, semen, Ulbanam, very strong. Translation and purport by Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Lord Brahma continued, those two principal doorkeepers of the personality of Godhead have now entered the womb of Diti, the powerful semen of Kaśyapa Muni having covered them. Please repeat the translation. Lord Brahma continued, those two principal doorkeepers of the personality of Godhead have now entered the womb of Diti, the powerful semen of Kaśyapa Muni having covered them. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Here is a clear proof of how a living entity coming originally from Vaikuntha Loka is engaged in material elements. The living entity takes shelter within the semen of a father, which is injected within the womb of a mother. And with the help of the mother's emulsified ovum, the living entity grows a particular type of a body. In this connection, it is to be remembered that the mind of Kaśyapa Muni was not in order when he conceived the two sons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Therefore, the semen he discharged was simultaneously extremely powerful and mixed with the quality of anger. It is to be concluded that while conceiving a child, one's mind must be very sober and devotional. For this purpose, the Garbhadhana samskara is recommended in the Vedic scriptures. If the mind of the father is not sober, the semen discharged will not be very good. Thus, the living entity wrapped in the matter produced from the father and mother will be demoniac like Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. The conditions of conception are to be carefully studied. This is a very great science, presents the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimira Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this entire discussion is happening between Lord Brahma and the demigods, because demigods became very much disturbed by the darkness which engulfed the entire universe. So they did not know what is the cause. So they had approached Lord Brahma to understand the reason for this entire that atmosphere that was created. So Brahma started narrating the source. Now he is concluding that part, how the darkness has come. So that's why the last few verses are the conclusions of Lord Brahma. Tau tu girvana rushabau dustarad harilokatah. So this Girvana Rishabhav means the best of the doorkeepers of the demigods. Tau, those two doorkeepers. Dustarad Harilokataha, from the Harilokataha, from the planet of Lord Hari. Dustarad, which is very difficult to be attained. Hatashriyo Brahma Shapad. They lost all their opulences, bodily effulgence. Hatashriyo, they lost their bodily effulgence and the position from the Vaikuntha Loka. Why? Brahma Shapat, because of the curse of the Brahmanas. Abhutam Vikatasmayo. And they became morose. They became very sad because of the impact of the curse, because of they are falling from the spiritual world to material world, they became very morose. So, but those two doorkeepers, Tau, the best of the demigods, Girvan and Rishabhav, their beauty and luster diminished by the curse of the Brahmanas. Hatashriyo, Brahma Shapat, became morose, Vigatasmayo, and fell from Vaikuntha. Dustarad Harilokataha, the abode of the Supreme Lord. Next verse. Tada Vaikuntha Dishnyat Tayor Nipatam Manayoho Hahakaro Mahanasid Vimanagreshu Putrakaha. So again he is saying, O Putrakaha, O my dear demigods, Tada Vaikuntha Dishnyat, from that abode of Lord Vaikuntha, Lord of Vaikuntha, Tayor Nipatamanayoho, as the two, the doorkeeper started falling to this material world. Hahakaro Mahanasid, there was a sound of Hahakara. Everywhere people started feeling, oh, what a great calamity has come. Hahakara. Vimanagreshu Putrakaha. Who are shouting this? All the people who are there on these celestial airplanes, in the heavenly planets. So they started saying, alas, alas, what a great calamity has come. Then as Jaya and Vijaya fell from the Lord's abode, Tada Tayor Nipatyamano Vikunta Dishnyat, a great roar of disappointment arose from all the demigods. Hahakaro Mahanasid Vimanagreshu, who were sitting in their splendid airplanes. And then, Tavevahi Aduna Prapto, now the two doorkeepers have Prapto, they have attained something. What is that? Who are these? Parshada Pravaro Harehe, the best of the demigods, or the best of the doorkeepers of Lord Hari. Diter Jatara Nirvishtam, they have entered into the womb of Diti. Kaśyapam Teja Ulbanam, by the powerful semen of Kaśyapa Muni, they had implaced or impregnated into Diti. So Lord Brahma continued, those two principal doorkeepers of the personality of Godhead, Tau Parshada Pravaro Harehe, have now entered the womb of Diti. Diter Jatara Nirvishtam. The powerful semen of Kaśyapa Muni having covered them. Kaśyapam teja ulbanam. So this is the purport, this is the context wise. Who are this? Why the darkness has come? Because of Jaya and Vijaya entering into the womb of Diti by the powerful semen of Kaśyapa. So in the purport, Prabhupada was explaining about the clear proof of how a living entity coming originally from Vaikuntha Loka is engaged in material elements. The spirit, when this enters into material body, how that engulfment or entrapment into this body happens. So originally the consciousness was spiritual in perspective. But as soon as it touches the material world, first thing what happens? It becomes identified with the body. When it starts identifying with the body, then it starts identifying with the systems. So in that way, he is becoming entrapped more and more into this bodily concept of life. And one more point was also said, the mind of Kaśyapa Muni was not in order when he conceived the two sons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Why he was not in order? That was also explained previously. Diti was coming and trying to infatuate him for engaging in sexual purpose. But the time was not a favorable time. It was known as Asura Sandhya Vela, where demoniac people roam around the earth at that particular point of time. So generally it is recommended not to sleep at that time also. Not to eat food, not to sleep also. So evening 4:30 onwards, somewhere around to 6 o'clock, that Sandhya is called as Asura Sandhya Vela. So morning 4:30 to 6 o'clock is called as Brahma Muhurta Vela. So two are contrasting in purpose. The early morning, that Brahma Muhurta is very much significant for spiritual purposes. But the evening, this Asura Sandhya Vela is against these practices. So sleep is forbidden at that time, because if you sleep, you will have dreams which are very disturbing dreams. Then if you eat, that food will not get digested, it seems. See, these are all for material rules. For spiritual people, these rules doesn't apply. Because for us, anytime, anything, it is connected with the Lord, the consciousness with the Lord, so it will not impact. See, why it happens? Do you know, sometimes these ghostly characters haunt people. Whom do they select? Whom do they select? A ghost comes here. 100 people are there here. Who will be its recipient? How it will choose us? It will choose non-devotee, but in non-devotees also, whom specifically? No, everybody is in mode of ignorance only in this world. Those who are mentally disturbed, those who are not able to have stability of mind, those who are mentally very weak, generally ghosts capture that personalities. So here also it is said, his mind is very disturbed. Why it is disturbed? That is the reason. He wanted to convince his wife, this is not the good time. He was preaching philosophy, but what? Very mildly he is preaching. Please listen to me. It's not good time at all. Let us think of it some other time. But the wife's dominance, he could not. He became carried away. Because of this disturbed situation, even though he knows this is not the good opportunity, because of he engaged in that sinful tendency, so that demoniac personalities took birth from this body. So therefore the semen he discharged was simultaneously extremely powerful and mixed with the quality of anger. So the mentality of the parents at the time of conception attracts that category of living entity into this material world. Or they become parents to that personality. So this is very important. That's why Prabhupada was explaining about Garbhadhana samskara, the importance of samskaras in life. What is these samskaras? Why they are very important for Vedic civilization? So Prabhupada explains elsewhere, samskara means purificatory method. It is the process of purification, and samskaras means educational process to elevate oneself. Janmana jayate shudra, samskarat bhavet dvijaha. By birth, we are all Shudra category. Our first birth is in Shudra category. By samskaras, we elevate to the Brahmanical platform. Means it evolves our understanding capacity. Just like a child is sent to school or college for elevating him to a higher standard of knowledge in life, similarly, the samskaras are also like that. So one must undergo the samskaras and act in life accordingly. One who takes birth from the father and mother, but one is considered a Shudra. Janmana jayate Shudra. Birth is not at all everything. Samskara means culture. One has to take rebirth by culture, by education, by knowledge. This is called as cultural birth. Samskarat bhavet dvijaha. So samskaras enable one to progress peacefully towards the ultimate existence, towards going back home, back to Godhead. Samskaras drive away the evil influences of the visible and invisible worlds and attract the blessings of the Supreme Lord, the demigods, and all the great sages. In the absence of the samskaras, life's activities becomes mundane. So generally we would have gone through some samskaras. What and all samskaras generally we see? People come to us, Anna Prashna we wanted to do for the child. You go to Tirupati, you say Mundan Seva, you want to offer your first hair to the Lord. Then sometimes earlier this ring piercing is also there. Then Vidyaramba, people come to us, that now they want to start education, Vidyaramba. Upanayana, people will come to us, he has to be initiated Upanayana. Marriage, Vivaha Yajna, that is one more samskara. Then one last samskara, generally this is Antyeshti, Shraddha ceremony, that last part, 11 days ceremony. These are the general samskaras what we see in the system. But Shastras have 32 samskaras, elaborately. Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas have emphasized 10 samskaras which are Dashavida samskara, which are very much important for our advancement in spiritual life. So they are the 10 principal samskaras. One is Vivaha, marriage; Garbhadhana, conception; Semantanayana, that is parting of the wife's hair; Jatak karma, as soon as a child takes birth, the Jatak karma is performed; Namakarana, this is one more samskara, this we missed; Annaprasna, the first eating of the grain for the baby; Chudakarana is first haircut; Vidyaramba, starting of the education; Upanayana, initiation; Antyeshti, the funeral rites. These are the 10 Dashavida samskaras which are compulsory for a person in Vaishnava culture. So what does each samskara means? What is the purpose of each samskara were elaborated. There is a book written by Gopal Bhatta Goswami called as Satkriya Sara Deepika, which explains elaborately on these details, what to perform, how to perform. Haribhakti Vilasa emphasizes on the topic, and Satkriya Sara Deepika details of the process. Jai Shri Shri Radha Govinda Ki. So Garbhadhana samskara, also known as Garbhadhanam, means literally attaining the wealth of the womb. The next generation, it is like an investment. The child is like a greatest wealth. If you can get a devotee, then the parent's life is danya. So Garbhadhana means the wealth of the womb, it is. Literal meaning is. This is the first of the 16 samskaras which is practiced. So after enter into social and worldly life, means after marriage, before the conception, this is the first samskara that is performed. The second one is Pumsavana, means basically Garbhadhana samskara means this is like announcing, today we are going to engage in conception with a consciousness that praying to the Supreme Lord with the intention that a good devotee takes birth in their family. Because one good son can elevate an entire family from this material world. So this is very important, this primary purpose. The next comes is, once the embryo starts developing, the baby starts developing, at the 3rd month, this is called as Pumsavana ritual, engendering for a male issue, because when the semen takes birth, so we don't know whether it is a boy or a girl. At the 3rd month, the decision happens. Whether it is a boy or a girl, you'll get to know at the 3rd month. So this Pumsavana ritual is when the pregnancy starts growing. In the 3rd month of the pregnancy, generally the fetus starts moving. The shape starts developing and it starts moving. So this celebrates the rite of passage of developing fetus, marking the stage where baby begins to kick as a milestone in the baby's development. It starts movement. It starts kicking the body. Physical activity starts. Then the next one is Semantaina. So generally at the 7th month period, the mother is offered the samskara. This is for basically for the healthy development of the baby and safe delivery of the mother. They part the hair and they put sindura and they give bangles and all these things and all. So the main objective of the samskara is to prevent premature abortion and to protect the pregnant mother and the growth of the child in the womb of the mother. These 3 are called as prenatal samskaras. Means before the birth, these are the 3 samskaras. The next childhood samskaras, as soon as the baby takes birth, this is called as jatak karma. So as soon as the baby takes birth, the bonding between the father and the baby starts. So this is where the first the cutting of the womb, which is umbilical cord between the mother and the baby, that is cut off. This is the ritual in which the father welcomes the baby by touching the baby's lips with honey and ghee, and they perform this astrological chart also. In Vedic times we see, the first canto we see, when Parikshit Maharaj took birth, this Jatak Karma ceremony was performed by Yudhishthir Maharaj to get to know what this baby is going to perform, how he is, what is his previous carriage, what is he going to perform. Some technical details about astrology were learnt and heard about. Even when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took birth also, Jatak Karma was performed. This is a ritual. Then the next comes Namakarana. The naming of the child is either generally done on the 11th day or sometimes on the first new moon or first full moon after the 10th day, depends upon which muhurta it is. So the baby is bathed and dressed in new garments and a name was selected and it will be announced to the public. And the purpose of this name was also to inspire people to chant the holy name. Ante Narayana Sprutihi. Ajamila chanted Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. How it was possible for him? See, Ajamila was such a sinful person. So how it was possible for him that his son name was Narayana? So Shastras explain about this story. There was one Rishi by name Lomasa, a great sage, who was engaged in tapasya. He was such a great personality, his body was full of hair. So one day of Brahma, one hair will fall from his body. So how much hair will be there for us? So one hair in one day of Brahma means you can understand what is his age span. So then when he was doing meditation, accidentally or somehow he started getting that itching sensation. And when there is itching sensation, can you do meditation properly? So he was not able to engage in meditation of the Lord. So he was becoming very much disturbed. So he went to one of his friends and requested him, see, I am having this itching sensation. How to come out of this itching sensation? I am not able to do meditation properly. Then the other friend suggested him, do one thing, because this is because of your past karma something. Now what you have to do is, the solution for this is, you have to go to the most sinful man and you have to eat his remnants, juta. Then you will be free from this itching sensation. And understand who is the most celebrated sinful man of that era? Ajamila. So he came to the house of Ajamila. Ajamila was not in the house. He went outside. Wife was there taking care of that small child. So he came, and generally they call sages, no, they come, Bhavati Bhikshandehi. That lady went inside and brought some fruits, because anything cooked is contamination, because they are of Shudra category and he is a great sage. So she brought some fruits which has to be given to Lomasa Muni. But he said, no, I don't want this. I want something else. She said, what can I give for you? I wanted some of the juta of your husband. Then she started thinking, who is this crazy fellow? My husband is such a worst fellow, such a sinful man, and he is asking for his juta, for his leftover particles. But verbally she did not say, but what is going on in her mind? So she went inside. Morning, whatever plate he has eaten, that was not washed, so some grains were there. So she picked up that grains, came outside and handed out that grains to that sadhu. Then sadhu, as soon as the grains came, he put couple of grains in his mouth and he started walking. After a few steps, his itching sensation vanished. He became normal, all right person. Then he thought, "Arey, such a favor they have done to me. I should do something. I should give them back something." So he went again and he called that lady, "Please come." That lady came and she was holding the baby in the hand. He had asked, "What is the name of this baby?" He said, "We have not yet given any name." Then he suggested, give his name as Narayana. So in that way, the 10th baby, it became Narayana. So this is Mahat Sevam Dvara Mahur Vimukte. A little service done to great personalities opened the door of liberation for Ajamila, who was so sinful personality. Please understand what capacity of this Namakarana can impact. This is very important. That's why the names will be, earlier names will be traditional names. It will be Ram Murti, Narasimha Murti, Krishna Murti. Some name of the Lord is always there. Rama, Krishna. Because by chanting that name, it becomes Uttapada. Uttapada means it is like when you cough, what we say? Suddenly sneeze, you say something. Amma, Ayya, something we say. But at least to remember the Lord's name. Krishna, Rama, Govinda. In that way, the Lord name was there on our tongue. And in the most emergency situation, we will be able to remember the Lord and we will be able to go back home, back to God. So that is the impact of this Namakarana ceremony. Then next one is called as Nishkrama. Nishkrama means after the birth, the first time baby is coming outside the house. So this is in the 4th month when the parents take the baby outside the home. The baby formally meets the world. This is Nishkrama. This is the next one. Then next comes in the 6th month, it is known as Annaprasana, the first grain eating by the baby. The first time the solid food is fed to the baby. So generally this is also one more again a ritual with no understanding. Currently what happens? One bowl of rice will be cooked and the mama of that baby will be called. He will be made to sit on his lap. The baby is put with a gold ring. He will take the grain and he will feed into the baby, and that's it. Annaprasana, this is considered. But actually what Shastra says? See, whatever that fire, whatever we have in the stomach, this is known as Jataragni. Krishna says, Aham Vaishvanara Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha Pranapana Samayuktam Pachami Annam Chaturvidam. 15th chapter, 14th sloka. Krishna says, I am that fire of digestion. I burn to ashes all the food what is eaten in the 4 categories. Chaturvidam Annam. So as you put into a sacrifice homa, what will happen to the state of that item? It will be burnt to ashes. So this is a ritual where we pray to the Lord who is there as fire in the stomach. And fire to burn, what is required? For fire to burn nicely, what is required? Oxygen is required. Prana. What we inhale? What we inhale? Oxygen only, no? So, do we have one prana or 5 pranas? Generally we say పంచ ప్రాణాలు గాల్లో కలిసిపోయినాయి అంట. మనకు ఒక ప్రాణం ఉందా 5 ప్రాణాలు ఉన్నాయా? How many pranas we have? One prana which is in 5 airs which circle the entire body. Prana, apana, samana, udana, vyana. These are the 5 kinds of air which keep this body fit and active. So it is said that when the 5 kinds of air meets the 5 kinds of fire in the stomach, there are 5 representation of Vishnu in the body of that personality. In the samskara, we pray to the 5 kinds of Vishnu forms, that the baby, whatever he is eating, it is like we are offering as a sacrifice into you, and please burn to ashes and bless the baby with good health and good understanding, good knowledge. This is the intention of the samskara. And next, generally after this, we do one more ritual. We will place the baby, we will put the items in front of the baby. What and all items will be kept in front of the baby? A book will be there, some pen will be there, some chaku will be there, some gold will be there, some money will be there. Nowadays they keep laptop and mobile also. What is that we are trying to do? We think whatever this baby catches, he will become that in the future life. All of you remember what you caught and where are you? Did we catch Bhagavad Gita? We don't know. But how a baby knows what to catch? So this is actually to understand what are his vasanas from the last life. See, which is very familiar to you, that you will go forward to that only. So the book and pen represents Sattvaguna. Money and gold represents Rajoguna. This chaku, mobile, laptop, they represents Tamoguna. Tamoguna means you can't come out of it. Night before sleeping we say, 2 minutes, I'll just go touch the mobile and come back. Will be able to come back in 2 minutes? 2 hours would have finished and still you are thinking, I'm only in 2 minutes in front of the mobile. The Tamoguna is like an intoxication, you can never come out of it. So we are trying to assess what the baby's last vasanas from the last life, which he is inclined towards that. Basically to understand which guna he is carrying forward. So like that, this is Namakarana, is one more ritual. Then comes Chudakarana, this first shaving of the head of the baby. Then this is the first time the hair is cut and the nails are trimmed for the baby. The next one is Karna Bedi, piercing of the ear holes. So this is also when the ears are pierced, this is also to protect from such certain diseases, and this will activate the bodily senses also. Somebody is sleeping, we just go and catch his ear, his sleep will go away. So there is a significance. Left ear means what, right ear means what. For spiritual purposes it is right ear, this is the education through which we receive the spiritual knowledge. Mundane education goes through this ear, left ear. Then next comes after that educational samskaras, Vidyarambha, the starting of the education. Generally people worship Saraswati Devi, but Vaishnavas worship Hayagriva, the master of education, where Saraswati herself gets that knowledge from Hayagriva. So this is at the age of 5, this ritual is performed formally, where he will start with the education perspective by praying to the Lord. Next is Upanayana, a samskara to become activated in the Brahminical qualifications, to develop Suchi, cleanliness, that other qualities. Next comes Vivaha, the marriage ceremony, where the obligation is taken that in the lifetime we will give protection to the wife and we will be as a good personality, endeavoring towards spiritual perspectives. The good sons will be generated, and the entire progeny will take them further for spiritual understanding. That is the purpose of this marriage, Vivaha Yajna. And the last one is known as Antyeshti, which is the death rites. So after the death of a person, these rites are performed by his relatives, immediate functionalities, so that he will be able to pass safely from this material world to the higher planetary systems. So in this entire perspective, we see one more understanding. Hiranyakashipu was such a negative mentality person, but how come he got Prahlad Maharaj as the greatest devotee son? So there is a story which is explained in Vedic literatures in Narasimha Purana. This was in discussion between Markandeya Rishi and King Sahasranika, how Prahlad Maharaj took birth from Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyakashipu once decided that he wanted to perform severe austerities. So he went out. On the way he saw various bad omens, apashekuna. So there were earthquakes, there was fire seen in all directions. So he ignored the inauspicious moment, but out of his pride, he went to Mount Kailasha. So on the peak of Mount Kailasha, he started performing rigorous austerities to obtain the demoniac boons, like he wanted to become the master of this universe. He wanted to be one more Brahma. He wanted to replace Brahma actually. Take benediction from Brahma and replace Brahma. That was his intention. So seeing the situation, Lord Brahma became worried, because he knew this person is going to perform. He will take benediction that he should not be killed by anybody, and he wants to displace Brahma. So Brahma became very much worried. Then he was thinking, how can I stop him from doing this austerity? Just then Narada Muni came to his palace, Brahma's place, and he paid obeisances. Seeing the father in a precarious situation, in a disturbed mind, he had asked his father, what is happening? Why are you disturbed? He said, you are a great devotee of Narayana. Why are you worrying? Persons who meditate on Govinda, they do not fear anything. Then father explained to him the situation, what Hiranyakashipu was trying to do. Then he said, I will persuade this demon to stop this penance, and Lord will guide me personally. So Narada Muni paid obeisances to his father along with his friend Parvat Muni. They went to the place where Hiranyakashipu was engaged in tapasya. They took up the form of sparrows, and they started chirping on the tree near to where Hiranyakashipu was engaged in tapasya. They started chanting the holy name of Narayan, Narayan, Narayan continuously. And Hiranyakashipu was so much vexed up with that name, he doesn't want to hear that name also. But when he was hearing that name, he was not able to meditate properly. His meditation was broken. And every time he tries to shy away that birds, and again after he closes his eyes, again they will come back. So after repeated attempts, he became frustrated. He thought, if I sit here, these birds will not make me into meditation. He came out of that meditation and went back home. When he went back home, the wife at that time, at that particular point, she was sexually active. She became very much active, and she was waiting, longing for husband. And suddenly when husband came, so she implored husband to engage in sexual intercourse. So while the intercourse was about to happen, she started questioning him. Are you went to do severe tapasya? What happened? Why did you come back? Then Hiranyakashipu started explaining what and all was happening. Then he was sitting on the hillock, and the two birds were there who was continuously chanting Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. By chanting that, he implanted the semen into the womb of Khayal. With the Narayana mantra, he implanted this seed. That's why, because of that Narayana mantra, and by the blessings of Narada Muni, the great personality Prahlada took birth from the womb of Hiranyakashipu. So this is the Garbhadhana samskara for Prahlad Maharaj. So how it is important, the consciousness, even though he was in a negative perspective, because he was thinking of Narayana at that particular point, a great devotee of Narayana came into this material world. So here Kaśyapa Muni, he was in a disturbed situation. Because of that, he could attract the demoniac personalities. So the whole perspective is the consciousness has to be maintained. We have to be very clear in our actions, manasa, vacha, karmana. So then this is assured that we'll be able to not only do good for us, we'll be able to do good for others also. So we'll stop here. Any questions, adults? ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जगत गुरु श्रील